Hi everybody, my name is Craig Prentice. I'm the founder of Mum, a talent partner for the hospitality industry. I've been in hospitality all of my life and moved into the world of recruitment, I think about 10 years ago now. I've been fortunate to be involved in numerous charities over the past few years, including Hospitality Action, where I'm an ambassador for the charity, and founded a couple of wellbeing and charity initiatives last year, including Now Pause, which is a relaxation initiative, and also Walk for Calm, which is a charity event in aid or in support of Hospitality Action and Campaign Against Living Miserably.
Hello, my name is Mark Lewis and I'm the Chief Executive of Hospitality Action. Hospitality Action is the benevolent charity for the UK hospitality industry, and we're here to offer lifelines to people who work or have worked in the industry and find themselves in difficulty or crisis. As you can imagine, more people than ever, many more people than ever have been in crisis, mostly financial crisis over the last 14 or so months. And we calculate that we've probably helped knocking on 5,000 hospitality households since COVID first struck last March.
Hello, my name is Simon Gunning and I am CEO of the Campaign Against Living Miserably, known as CALM. We are a suicide prevention organisation, and we try to help anybody and everybody who finds themselves in a position of crisis or just a position of feeling not great. We'll go right across that entire spectrum with suicide prevention at our core. We campaign for personal change and for societal change with a number of partners across all sectors of industry and society, and we run a helpline from 5 to midnight, 7 days a week, which is free to call and staffed by professional people. Through lockdown, we took over 130,000 calls. Visits to our website more than doubled in that time, so our services are clearly needed more than ever. It very much sharpened our pencil on becoming efficient so that we could help as many people as we possibly could through our helpline. And that means that we've accelerated development and launch of products, for example, one called QBot, which is a bot which will help people whilst they're in the queue for our helpline, which has of course become longer. However, fortunately, because of the amazing support that we've received, we've also managed to increase the seats, the people working on our helpline, by 25% in the last year. So we're not able to completely match that 40% increase in demand, but we're getting there. We also changed our campaigning to be extremely current, extremely relevant, and to help people with the issues that they're facing through the pandemic. So lots of pithy, usable bits of advice, whether you're 16 or whether you're 65 or whatever gender you might be. We've released lots and lots of content to help people struggle with the uncertainty and the strangeness of the last year. It's so important for us to reach more people. There's something that came up in the last year, that if people didn't know 999 was there, they wouldn't know what to call when their house was on fire. And just for people to be aware that CALM exists, that we're there for everybody, and that our helpline is available, and that there's a ton of really great materials on our website as well to help. But we don't do things in a kind of a judgmental or a kind of a preachy kind of way. We tend not to talk much about mental health. We tend to talk about life and hope and how you can make yourself and the people around you feel better. And so this has just been brilliant in not only raising awareness that we exist, but also directly correlating mental and physical well-being, especially in times when people really have been locked inside and haven't known what to do. So it's these amazing, brilliant partnerships that mean that we've been able to almost meet the demand on our helpline, but we'll certainly be able to do so in the coming years.
Yeah, the pandemic has just hit us for six in terms of the way we raise funds, and clearly without raising funds, we can't disperse funds. So we've had to get creative with the fundraising that we do, but also we've had to rely on the support of lovely people like Craig to pull together initiatives like Walk for Calm. We, like Simon, we had a huge upturn in demand for our services back in March of last year. I think on the Monday morning when we opened our portal for applications for an emergency grant, within the first hour we'd received just over 20,000 email applications, which gives you some sense of the scale of need. So in terms of fundraising, we've had to live on our wits and rely on the generosity of others. And then in terms of grant giving, well, that's gone through the roof. We created an emergency grant of £250 per household in the first weeks of the lockdown, just to help people keep food on the table for their kids and a roof over their heads while they began to make sense of the times. There was so much loss of employment, loss of hours, so much disconcertment. So we tried to help people with an emergency grant. Since then, we started to give more money to families with 1, 2, 3, or 4 children. So we have a sliding scale, and that's been very much our approach to grant giving over the last year, just to help people pay the bills and keep life and soul together while they wait for some sort of certainty in future. Worth saying as well, and important to say, that at the same time we've continued to do what we always do, which is help people with issues that aren't directly relating to COVID, issues around physical and mental well-being, issues around poverty, issues around depression, addiction. So that sort of work has gone on as well. I love the nature and the feel of Walk for Calm. I love the semantics of it. HA tries to put an arm around the shoulder of the industry. We use the hashtag We've Got You. We want to be a safety net, and I think Walk for Calm seems to imbue those sorts of qualities as well. The fact that people are walking is good. We know that physical exercise, getting out and about, is good for our physical, but also our mental well-being. I love the acronym CALM from what Simon's organisation does. I just think it speaks the sort of language that we need to be speaking at the moment. We need to be kind to ourselves. We need to take deep breaths. We need to look out for others around us, and we need to safeguard our well-being. So, quite apart from the fact that it's raising money for good causes, I just love the feel of Walk for Calm. We've got 2 main priorities from an outward focus perspective, and then the third priority, of course, would be my team, which you mentioned yourself. So firstly, we need to keep on raising money, and secondly, we need to keep on spending as much money as possible. We were so proud last year that we spent approaching twice as much in the calendar year of 2020 as we ever have in a calendar year before on grant giving. We need to continue to do that. So making money to spend money, those are our 2 external drivers. And then internally, I need to look after my team. You know, people often ask me who cares for the carers, and that falls to me and my management team. It can be pretty grueling helping people who are in real distress, and my team sometimes gets very, very difficult calls and emails, so I need to safeguard their wellness as well. And that speaks to what I said a moment ago, that we're all in this together, whether we work at HA or Calm, or whether we're at Mum, or whether we're in the industry. We need to look out for each other and ourselves and make sure we get through this intact. What I need is for people to shout about us whenever they can, tell other people that we exist, not just for making money, although that's crucial to what we do. But every penny that we spend on grants is raised by ourselves. But I want people to know that we exist because I want them to know that there's somewhere to go when they hit a bump in the road themselves, or there's somewhere to point a colleague to if a colleague hits that bump in the road. So really, it's about amplification of the message and the brand around hospitality. I want the whole industry to know that we exist so that they can turn to us, God forbid, but when they need some support from a third partner.
Well, clearly we have to pay for our helpline, which is our single largest outlay of cash. Costs have risen dramatically in the last year as we strive to meet demand on that helpline. We can also do that in other ways, though, and so every penny raised goes either into helpline or will go into campaigning and running the organisation. So our campaigns have reached unprecedented numbers of people in the last year. We've grown our share of voice to be almost 3 times pre-pandemic, and all of those messages are about the presence of our helpline and about how Calm can help people who are struggling, and how we can help people help other people who are struggling. So these things are of massive importance to us. We have to ensure that we're positioned at the centre of what could potentially be a mental health crisis. There were a lot of very troubling social media reports, for example, on an increase in the suicide rate through lockdown. That was not true. The suicide rate has not gone up. The suicide rate is still appalling, with just around 125 people every single week taking their own lives in the UK. But what we do know, having looked at historical data, is that when we go into economic difficulties, which I think it's probably inevitable we then see a lot of people getting into a lot of trouble, and it's so important that Calm works hard to make sure that people know we're there for them. The second priority then is to make sure we can meet that demand. That's going to be to expand our services, certainly as they exist currently, but also as a third priority to add new sorts of services, so we can help audiences who potentially don't want to talk on a phone, who don't necessarily want to type onto a computer. How can we help people whose preferred screen is a mobile, for example? How can we create the kind of content that means that for people who really don't want to talk to a helpline, Calm is still there perpetually to help them. And one angle of that as well is we want to become a 24/7 service. Right now, we only operate our helpline from 5 till midnight. And so in creating lots more materials and lots more resources for people, we can help meet their requirements where and when they need them. Well, we position ourselves as leading a movement against suicide. Suicide is the single biggest killer of young men in the UK, and suicide has been on the rise for a number of years. But we can't do that on our own. So we'll facilitate, we'll lead that movement, but we really encourage people to join us, to wear a badge, to talk about it, to destigmatize mental health issues, to destigmatize suicide, and to help people around us and ourselves lead happier lives. We often will say it's kind of okay to be miserable. I'm quite often miserable, as I'm sure most people are. Living miserably is a very different thing. And in joining our movement, we want to help create the kind of behaviours and the kind of society that mean that less people will live miserably, less people will find themselves at crisis point, and together we will be able to lead a movement against suicide.
Sure. We're on our official save the date message. So we launch officially in June, meaning we've got 4 months to do the groundwork and really get ramped up for September. The message is really simple. Please support. Everybody is able to support, whether it's through social media sharing, showing up and getting involved, getting together with a work friends or family, creating teams, or sponsoring if you can, if you're in a position to. Last year was amazing in the sense that we never once, I think, really pushed people for money, and I think that's a really key thing to mention. And despite everything coming together within sort of a very short space last year of 6 weeks, everybody collectively raised £17,000, which feels absolutely amazing even now. And I'm sure that with significantly more time this year and a lot of love and a lot of support from everybody across the industry, I know we're going to do so much more this year, which is pretty exciting.